Otaku Dudes! This is January 2023 recommendations. Well, welcome to the new year. Besides making it through another year alone, I didn't think I'd make it, to be honest, but here we are. And I had a birthday this month. I am 24 now, and I really feel like I'm gonna try to make this my year. As much as I don't think it's gonna be my year, I'm gonna try to make it my year. For the yes section, Darby and the dead. Darby technically died, so she can talk to dead people and help them move on. But when the popular girl dies, she makes Darby throw her a party. I like the idea of Darby's character. I found it really interesting. When I first started it, I thought it was going to be a series, but it was a movie. Tamara. Bullies had it coming. She's bullied bad. I was hoping for her to take out revenge on them. Like, to be honest, it's basically kind of like a take on Carrie, but not quite. This one took a little couple more liberties. Beautiful Jenna Dewan Tatum was in this, but I don't know if she was Jenna Dewan Tatum yet by the time this movie came out. I don't know. But they find out that she's a witch after they kill her because she comes back to life and takes out her revenge. They ended up turning her into the evil one at the end, which I didn't like, because if it was just about her revenge, like in Carrie, you side with Carrie, even if she's crazy, like murdering innocent people. You side with her more versus making Tamara the bad guy in this case, but it's fine. The Fallout. I didn't know what this movie was going to be about, but I saw Jenna Ortega in it, so I wanted to watch it. And oh my god, I didn't know this movie was about a school shooting, and this is sad. It's a sad reality that this can even be a topic. That we're still discussing this, but I'm not going to go off on that. But the way it was handled and portrayed was so heartbreaking, and it was very well acted. Bird Girl, a comedic show about a superhero named Bird Girl. Most of the episodes were very creative, but some of them, oh lord, they took some creative liberties with that. Wonder Woman Bloodlines, particular Wonder Woman in this movie could step on me. She could. Belle. I had always wanted to watch this movie. I finally found it on HBO. A period piece based on, I believe it's a true story. I think it's a true story. This story helped shape the world we live in as now, and I think it's a very important event. And I just honestly, period pieces, love it. I like the style of clothing. The Black Phone. This movie was actually very, very creepy, and as someone who plays an awful lot of horror games, this was creepy. I do wish I would have seen this in theaters, which was my initial plan, but I just didn't get to go see it. The Glory. Dude, this show had some of the most brutal bullying I have ever seen in any kind of media. Like, they might as well have just murdered her. Because, like, one scene with her bullies, and I was convinced that they deserve whatever she was going to do to them. No Doubt in Us. I adore Boaz. I have yet to find one that I don't like. In this one, the Emperor and the Empress fall into a pond and drown themselves together, which somehow makes them switch bodies, and hilarity and romance ensues. Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. This was, to say the least, one of the strangest things I've ever seen, down to the talking toilet paper. Jennifer's Body. I've seen this movie before, but never all together at once, and I'd love to say the writing and storytelling is amazing. Megan Fox literally shined in this movie. She was so beautiful, and the movie's slightly funny, which usually makes for a solid movie. Capturing the Killer Nurse. A documentary about a nurse that killed lots of people, and the hospitals were covering it up. Honestly, it's really terrible. And then The Good Nurse, which is basically the Netflix movie of this real-life case. This movie is based on the documentary, and I think it's very well done. Because I watched the documentary first, and I was like, oh wow. Emily in Paris. Season 3 of this show was highly advertised on TikTok. So much so that I gave in and I binged the whole thing. Like, I binged all 3 seasons. And I really like shows like this. And it was really good, honestly. It's basically a show about a really pretty girl, because Lily Collins is just gorgeous, where everything goes perfect and she gets to wear pretty outfits in Paris and all the men fall for her. And I'm like, is that what it's like being attractive? I don't know, but it's just a nice thing. Like, it's just a happy show. Any of the drama in this show is kind of minimal. I feel like most of it is just a happy time. I don't know, I like it. Strange World. Disney's latest movie. I commend them for making a gay character, like that's their whole character design, and everything is based on them being gay, to a point that they couldn't edit it out. Like, I commend them for that, and I think that's a really amazing step. However, I feel like the movies for Disney lately have been lacking. Like, I enjoy them, I do, but they're lacking in a way that I can't describe. Maybe it's because I miss, like, them trying to make, like, really bad villains, like their OG villains, like, you know, like from Snow White, Tangled, Little Mermaid, like Peter Pan, like the villains were like it, you know? So I don't know if that's what's going on, but I just feel like their stories aren't like gripping as much. I don't know. Deathstroke Knights and Demons. Love seeing a movie about Deathstroke and his family. I love the backstory. The Menu. I like the idea about basically a fancy customer service worker having more than enough of customers and deciding to kill everyone because, like, as someone who works in customer service, bro, you wouldn't believe how stupid people are until you work in that situation. I promise. Anya Taylor-Joy is so fine, and I'll watch anything she's in. There's actually a lot of her movies on this list. It's completely coincidental just because I seen that she was in it. But the way she escapes this movie, amazing. Great film, honestly. Amazing detail, very creative. Loved it. Death at the Dorms. A group of stories about students getting killed at their dorms. Honestly, it's heartbreaking. I feel like you send your kids to college, they should be safe at the college. Like, it's just ridiculous. The Mummy. I've never seen this series, but I've always wanted to, and I adore Brendan Fraser. I think that's not how you say his last name because I saw an interview and I've been saying it wrong my whole life, but I can't remember how you say it. And I wanted to see one of his most famous series. And the romance in this was spicy. I loved it. The Mummy Returns. They kept the same energy. Quite a good sequel. The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Now with this one, I'm really picky. Them switching Evie out for another actress and then literally like mentioning in said movie that that person is a different person for some reason pissed me off. But I don't know what the situation was behind the recasting, so I'm not gonna say anything about it. It didn't make the movie any less good, but Alex, I hate that he was a character in this movie. I just wish he wouldn't be a character at all, but you know, it's fine. 1,000 Pound Sisters Season 4. They're back with another season, and honestly, I have high hopes for Tammy as of now and her weight loss. I feel like she's gonna change. I don't know if she is. And I hope that Amy gets back on her weight loss journey soon, considering she's pregnant again with another baby. But we shall see. Suitcase Killer. The Melanie McGuire story. I watched this because I saw Candace King was in it, and I was like, oh my god, Caroline Forbes, you know, I have to watch this. And I'm not saying I agree with the murder, however, the way that they portrayed the husband in this movie, it wasn't a great way to get us to feel bad for him. Like, I was on her side. I'm not saying it's okay to kill someone and put them in a suitcase, but I was on her side. Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. I've always liked DreamWorks animation. Upon seeing this, I was like, oh my god, I've never actually watched that one. So, loved it. I didn't think the romance was good in this. I think it was really forced, but it is what it is. The Legend of Vox Machina Season 2. I didn't even know we were getting a Season 2. When I had watched Season 1, I had hoped we got a Season 2 because I just adored the show and the characters. But I'm very excited that we did, and show's so well written and puts a great spin on fantasy, which I love. I love when they take a overused genre, such as fantasy, and they put a twist on it. I love that because I really like fantasy and I love all the things you could do with fantasy, but I feel like if you don't do something different with it, it's repetitive. Alright, Finley, a short film on YouTube about a killer dummy. It's a comedy horror. This movie did so well with the horror scenes, actually being very creepy and correctly done to where it was actually bone-chilling, and then the comedy scenes being hilarious and not overdone. Too bad he's terrible at killing people, but does have a soft spot for the cat, which I agree, and I thought that was a cute little character moment to put on Finley, that he does care for the cat. But he does eventually kill the robbers that break into the house. So he does have something going on him. But I like the lore behind it. Horror comedy can easily be done wrong. They did it amazingly. Son of Zorn. This show only got one season, and I could see why. Because if you honestly, I feel like if you don't know who He-Man is, or like those old school cartoons that fit this profile, you wouldn't get half of these jokes and this wouldn't apply to you. So maybe that's why it didn't work. It also was a little insensitive, but I feel like it was a 2016 show and it was a different time. People could say things back then that they couldn't because it's a little bit insensitive, but different time period. But it had potential. I think it really did. Basically, Zorn is just the comedic take on He-Man. Like, that's it. But he's from a mythical place, and Zorn comes to our world to be with his son and try to have a normal life. It's a wild concept, it really is. The Pez Outlaw. I didn't know the Pez candy had so much of backstory behind it. About thievery and all this, but here we go. The hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. I do remember when I was younger, seeing the memes for this guy when I was younger. Little did I know he ended up being a killer. I had no idea about the story behind this, but The Pale Blue Eye. A story of young Edgar Allan Poe and a detective solving a case which later turns into a story of revenge. I do love the character of Edgar Allan Poe, what they did with him, where he was like a really like spoken out poetic person, and I loved his character, like not design, but his character makeup. I loved it. Wendell and Wild. The art style and the lore for this is astounding. The character design's beautiful. Music amazing. So basically our main character, she's a hell demon and she summons demons. I came by. So our main character is extremely unlikable. I didn't care if anything happened to him. He's terrible. You can usually write an unlikable character that is still likable, but this guy was just terrible. Like, I didn't like him at all. So you don't care much about him, but I'm gonna be honest with you, you have no idea where this movie is headed. The ending is not very good, because it doesn't really cut up a lot of loose ends, but it is what it is. Serrano. I think that's how you say it. I just watched this last night, but I already forgot how they say his name. Incredible musical period piece, and this movie was amazingly acted and beautiful, and the love story is so pretty, and Peter Dinklage slayed in this movie, as he often does. Now for the mess section, American Carnage. I watched Regina Ortega because I'm crushing on her, you know, but the plot is not what I thought it was going to be. At first I assumed it was because of a very serious topic, which is what the movie starts off with, but no, hold up, it's actually about the government knowing about this they're using the money from this chain restaurant for their campaign, and they have this fake nursing home that's not actually a nursing home, but it's like this scientific facility where they turn young people into old people and they make them into hamburger meat for a chain restaurant. It's really weird, but okay. Thoroughbreds. Got my girl in here again. This is about her and a friend setting up a murder of her stepdad, which I believe this is actually based on a true story. Castle in the Sky. I don't remember too much about this movie, to be honest. I really can't recall much to talk about. Last Night in Soho. The idea of this movie is interesting, to say the least. It went by much too slow for me, but the ending was amazing, and the movie's aesthetic, beautiful. Project Power. The idea for this was so cool. Like pills that gave you random powers. Like, it could have been really cool if it would have worked out. Kimmy. An AI tries to help someone, basically. That's basically the story. And I have nothing in the no section this month, so that's cool. I hope we all have a year, because this is our year to do great things, dudes.
Hadouken! Finish him!